Welcome back to Ben Keenan Just Can't Stop Talking, the water cooler episode, aka the 10-ish minute news and culture show where you learn literally everything that happened today so that you're a little bit smarter about a lot of things. It is Tuesday, February 25th. It is also dark. I worked all day today. Just some quick housekeeping before we jump into the news. There will be no episode tomorrow. I have a late event, and so I won't be able to film tomorrow night. However, I will still track the news, and you will get some of Wednesday's highlights on Thursday's episode. So stay tuned for that. But until then, you already know the drill. We're going to go ahead and start with all of the things that happened last night from the time we logged off through all of the things that happened today until we logged off once again. So without further ado, let's talk about what happened last night. There are only two things that happened. Unfortunately, both of them are death. So 5:33 p.m., Chris Japer, one of the Isley Brothers, died at 73 years old. And at 8:05 p.m., the Cleveland Guardians baseball team owner, Lawrence J. Dolan, died at 94 years old. So now on to the news of today, Tuesday, February 25th. At 3:07 a.m., Denny's announced that some of their locations will start to add an egg surcharge to their prices given the shortage of eggs that are currently happening in the United States because of bird flu, making them more expensive anyway. You would assume that the Trump administration would be doing literally anything about bird flu, but I don't know about you. It's been over a month since he's been in office now, and I haven't heard a peep, and that is not a bird joke. At 8 a.m., a new trailer for the final season of You dropped, which is that show on Netflix with the guy from Gossip Girl who was Dan. I don't remember his real name. Penn. Anyway, it's like the stalking show. That trailer dropped. At 8:04 a.m., Coco Jones announced her Why Not More tour. At 8:14 a.m., Ayo Edibiri is said to be in talks to write and star in A24's live-action Barney movie. What the fuck could a live action Barney movie be like that is not solely a compilation of all of my fever dreams mushed up together to create one giant sleep paralysis demon? At 8:16 a.m., more than 20 civil service employees announced their resignation from Elon Musk's DOGE group, saying that they refused to dismantle critical public services. At 8:25 a.m., Taylor Swift officially made history as the first female artist to surpass 100 billion with a B streams on Spotify. At 8:40 a.m., influencer Summer Wheaton surrendered to arrest over a fatal car crash that killed a 44-year-old man last July. At 10:14 a.m., a Southwest plane nearly collided with a smaller jet in Chicago.
This near miss that's happened at Midway Airport. Stunning video showing the Southwest Airlines flight dodging a small plane as it crossed the runway just as the larger aircraft was coming in for a landing. Let's watch this here. Well, goes around. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Talk about an incursion into the runway. Somebody, and I would imagine it's the small plane, is going to get an earful from air traffic controllers about that.
Yeah, it's our understanding, John, that obviously this is a commercial jet, the Southwest plane that was attempting to land there at Chicago's Midway Airport, south side of Chicago. The smaller jet, is our understanding, was a private jet operated by FlexJet. But another near collision, and in a string of airplane and airport incidents, John, it just continues to bring into question airline safety and a lot of demands for answers why we are seeing yet another close call.
Everybody now, what the fuck is going on with the Federal Aviation Administration, Sean Duffy? At 10:23 a.m., the White House announced that the Correspondents Association, which is the group of people who are from like all of the news outlets who determine who all is going to be covering the White House, will no longer determine who is covering the White House, but instead the White House press team, aka the people who directly report to Donald Trump, will decide who gets to attend the briefings themselves. This is the first time in a century that a president is choosing who covers them instead of the press choosing who covers them. I will tell you now, be skeptical when the government tells you who gets information and who gets to share information. This is not normal. At 10:55 a.m., a federal judge blocked Trump's executive order pausing the U.S. refugee admissions program, saying it appears to, quote, cross the line into, quote, nullification of congressional will. You're going to start to see a lot of these rulings come out, especially as they start to work their way through courts where Trump's executive orders are being shut down by judges. That was kind of the whole purpose of what he was doing in the first month, is just pushing out a ton of executive orders to kind of test the limits of what his power is going to be. We're going to see most of these go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is ultimately going to decide how much power they're willing to give Donald Trump. And Donald Trump will then decide whether or not he gets to listen to the Supreme Court. It's all very sticky, but a a win is a win for today. At 2:04 p.m., WNBA star Diana Taurasi announced her retirement from basketball. At 2:19 p.m., Trump announced a gold card, which is like a green card, but for rich people.
We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
But if you were curious what type of rich people Trump was going to, bring into the U.S., just here, take this.
Russian oligarch be eligible for a gold card?
Yeah, possibly. Hey, I know some Russian oligarchs that are very nice people. It's possible.
At 2:20 p.m., Zendaya was spotted filming Euphoria Season 3, where her character Rue seemingly works at a smoke shop. At 2:28 p.m., actor John Lithgow confirmed that he's said yes to playing Dumbledore in the Harry Potter TV series on HBO Max. At 2:34 p.m., Ukrainian officials have agreed on a framework for an economic deal that would grant the U.S. access to rare earth metals in Ukraine. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am in Ukraine for agreeing to this. At 3:36 p.m., North Dakota Republican Senator Kevin Cramer is said to be recovering at home after being diagnosed with a severe concussion, a seizure, and a slight brain bleed after slipping on ice yesterday. At 3:54 p.m., Blackwater founder Eric Prince, so if you have never heard of Blackwater, is basically a private military contractor, has offered to privatize mass deportations for the White House. So basically this company would be making money off of deporting immigrants, which is just really gross. At 5:31 p.m., Republicans in the House officially passed their budget bill, which includes potentially up to $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid in order to deliver on Trump's promise of trillion-dollar tax cuts for billionaires across the United States. No, you heard that correctly. Republicans voted to give billionaires a $1 trillion tax cut by cutting $880 billion in Medicaid. Remember that, especially remember that the next time that they try to tell you that they are not trying to cut Medicaid. It should be noted, not one single Democrat voted for this, and every single Republican except for one voted for this. They do not care about you. And finally, with a little more levity, 5:50 p.m., Alex Earl's podcast Hot Mess has officially been dropped from Alex Cooper's Unwell network. There apparently was like a feud or something between them. Either way, I hear an opening in Unwell, and Alex Cooper, if you want to build this podcast, you know where to find me. And if you don't, it's all over social media. Speaking of, if you didn't get enough of the news for today, because that's all I had for you, up until Alex Earl, that's all I had, you can find me on social media. I'm on TikTok and YouTube at I've Been Traveling. I'm on Instagram and Threads at Ben Keenan. That's where you'll find me for the next 2 days until I'm coming back on Thursday with that new episode, which you can find here on the podcast. Ben Keenan Just Can't Stop Talking on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until then, bye.